Hello, everyone. Welcome to Time Out 360. My name is Marie Olivier, and I have with me Roger, Pierre, Jean-Louis, and Harry Jean-Louis. Welcome to this platform. We cover political, social, cultural, and economic issues related to the growth of our community. Today, we have a distinguished guest who hold a special place in the heart of our audience, in the heart of our community. First, before I go any further, I want to thank this special guest for giving us the opportunity to have this moment of interviewing her about her endeavors, her political agenda. She began this year, 2022, by making history. Last year, in 2021, she shocked the political world in South Florida, and we congratulate her for that endeavor. She is the first Haitian American Democrat to be elected to the U.S. Congress. Congresswoman Sheila Phyllis McCormick, welcome to Time Out.
Good evening or good morning, whatever time zone. Thank you so much for having me. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you on Time Out. Greeting everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis toujours content pour parler avec toute communauté, tout peuple haïtien. Ça c'est famille nous. Tout ça bagay nous faire c'est pour communauté. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Congresswoman. We know that you are a role model for so many Haitian American. I know you are a member now for several committees. I know for the last 6 months since you got elected to U.S. Congress, we know 6 months is not a lot in the political world, but you have been doing quite a bit, been very busy with several committees, whether the House Committee on Education Labor, House Committee on Veteran Affairs, the Black Caucus, the Haitian Caucus, and of course, the Caribbean Caucus. My question to you, Congresswoman, how do you really feel? What would you like to say to your audience, to our audience in the District 20 in the Florida community, Congresswoman?
Well, the first thing I would like to tell everybody is that we should be extremely excited and proud of what we were able to do. Communauté haïtienne vient ensemble. That we couldn't have come together and really leveraged our political power. But look at where we are right now. We have done it. So as we go forward, we are asking everyone to continue leveraging that political power. We only have one Haitian Democrat, one Haitian in Congress, but that shouldn't be the case. We should have more advocates on every single level. So I want to start off by telling everyone thank you and congratulations. We had one of the biggest strides by making history, but now it's time for us to do it again and to show them that this wasn't a mistake. It wasn't because of happenstance, but we were calculated, we were strategic, and we put our power together, and now we're ready to do it again.
We understand, you could say, the process will start, early voting is going to start on the 10th of August. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, early voting starts on the 10th of August. However, ballots have already went out. And we need to be very cautious about the ballots that are going out to make sure that we're filling it out ourselves, make sure that we're signing it. You're going to mettre X suddenly an X, but you're pas signé. So the boys are tout pour you're pas signé ballot là. A lot bagay nou we, you're going to vin la potio a point ballot. Do not let anyone take your ballot because there are people who are working against our community. There are people who are coming to your door and trying to get your ballot. And if you did not vote for their candidate, they throw away your ballot. So make sure that you are doing it because right now it is illegal for anyone to take your ballot and deliver it. So I just want to stress to everyone that the election is right now and our moment is right now. We've been doing a lot of work when it comes to how we're suffering and what we're going through in the community. We put a lot of funding towards housing. We've done a lot of immigration work. We have immigration clinics. And we've even been working with the Haitian government to try and have some kind of relief in Haiti. Mais travail la sot commencé, nous pas encore fini. So c'est pour que ça nous besoin tout le monde à voter, nous besoin tout le monde continuer puis ka goumen puis ka prier parce que nous pas encore fini ce travail nous besoin faire.
I'm glad that you mentioned that the work just started. Engineer J.
Congresswoman Sheila, I'm very happy you're here. I'm glad to meet you. I went to different functions where you are there. Unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to see face to face. I was at the Haitian American Lawyers Association event, and I didn't have a chance to meet you. And I'm glad I can meet you today and ask you a few questions on behalf of the Haitian community. We have a big issues in District 20. Lots of challenges. We have Haitians everywhere in the U.S. In South Florida, we have 25% of the Haitian population in South Florida. In your district, District 20, which is a very diverse district, about 60% of the district is minority. 40% is non-Black. With cities like North Lauderdale, Lauderhill, Lauderdale Lakes, Tamarack, Miramar, Lake Park, Riviera Beach, part of Pompano Beach and Sunrise. I would like to know, with the suffering that the community is going through, when we have high rent, inaccessibility to affordable housing, most of us are priced out of the housing market.
Mm-hmm.
The people are facing a lot of challenges. Where do you see the needs, the most dire? Where are the most dire needs? And what solutions do you think you can propose today?
So the most dire need or the biggest issue is in fact housing. And that's why I had the Secretary of Housing, Marsha Fudge, who's part of the president's cabinet, come down into our district. She came into Lauderhill and we looked at our affordable housing units that need to be redone, but also we looked at how much money we can allocate towards building new housing, workforce housing, because the housing situation has grown so much in our district and in our state that Florida has the largest housing problem. So we allocated $7.4 million towards new housing in the district and even diverted $676 million to come into the district for affordable housing. What does that mean? That means that we have plans to start building affordable housing, not just how we do it traditionally, where you have apartments, but now we're looking at single family housing all throughout Broward and Palm Beach. With those opportunities of actually building housing, those are opportunities to get a job. So we can hire people in the district to work on building these housings. We've even were able to allocate and find funding through emergency management and FEMA to go towards training people to be able to work on those projects. So we're looking at the housing crisis as an opportunity for us to not only just build houses, create jobs, and also take an opportunity to expand on environmental sustainability and climate resilience. The reason why that's so important right now is because, as you can see, nous gagnons chalet, ça marche, ça monte tout côté. With the chalet, we also see flooding and we see water. We see more of activity when it comes to hurricanes. So it's important that the new buildings that we're building actually have the resilience that's needed. So these are a lot of opportunities that we're finding. In addition, we've also put $191 billion going into Latin America and the Caribbean so we can push forward environmental sustainability initiatives. And with that, I put forth a bill along with Representative Espia so we can start giving loans for companies in the U.S. who want to start working with Latin America. What does that translate for us? Not only do we have housing opportunities to develop, to work, but now if you're going to partner to work, let's say in Haiti or in the Dominican Republic or in the Caribbean, we're going to help your company get those loans. But for us to actually meet that threshold, we first have to make sure there's stability in Haiti. But we've been putting the work in that we have to do here to make sure all the opportunities are available so everyone can rise together.
I would like to do a follow-up on that, Congresswoman Sheila. How do you think the new proposal made in Congress, the Inflation Reduction Bill, we know that Senator Joe mentioned, just turn around and start working with President Biden to see how we can get the BBB back, the Build Back Better. So now I think it's a good move. I'm happy that he did change his mind. How do you see that impacts District 20?
So we've been taking, well, specifically, this legislation is only one of many that we've already done. So with Build Back Better, when we sent it to the Senate, they did not move it forward, it died, but we were intentional. So let's talk about the main things that Build Back Better does. Build Back Better also gave us the right to negotiate prescription drugs. When they dropped it, we passed a bill independently that brings down insulin is capped at $35. Build Back Better also give money towards housing. We took that and we passed a bill separately that put money towards housing. As far as inflation, what we've been doing with inflation, if you've noticed, the price of gas has been going down consistently for over 35 days. And that's because of the regulations that we put forward. Now, the price of chips, where the price of cars, the price of certain electronics, those prices have been exorbitant and we still have a supply chain shortage. That's because those chips are actually located in China and in Taiwan. We just passed $1 billion bill that actually allows us to start building those chips in the United States and also have a partnership with Taiwan. So you're going to see the price of electronics, of cars, anything that has to do with those chips come down significantly. So those are the things that I wanted to bring to your attention of what we're doing. And when it comes to food also, we're working to bring that price down, and housing has already started dropping.
When mentioning about food, Congresswoman, we could say it has to do with the fuel prices that's going up. Since you mentioned it's been going down for the last 30 days, or you think it is going to continue to go down?
Well, what we found going down in the last 35 days was actually gas. But with food, so one of the things that we've been doing, a lot of our food supply has been sourced through fertilizer that comes directly from Ukraine and from Russia. So that is where the prices of food have been going higher, because now we're looking to substitute and we're having even shortages when it gets to food and that supply chain. Now we're reinvesting in producing food in the country and subsidizing that kind of production. So we're working on moving the prices down. What I've been doing on a personal level in our district, we have farmers in Palm Beach. And so we've been working with those farming. I don't think people know that our growers in Palm Beach are actually the largest winter farm crops. So we've been working with them to bring fresh food into the districts. So we have food giveaways. We've been doing that on this level. But on the federal level, we're working to bring everything down. And one of the things that we've noticed that if you looked, we had huge complaints probably a few months ago about prices of homes, prices of food, prices of gas. And if you look at us now, 35 days out, food went down, gas went down, housing went down significantly. So we're going to be consistently hitting the mark there. But let's also notice what has gone up. In this session where we have passed over $19 billion coming into the state of Florida, after we passed the American Rescue Act, we've seen the most amount of entrepreneurs grow and Black businesses grow. And it was at the hands of Black men in our district. We've seen a lot of money even go to small businesses that were able to survive through the pandemic. Now, if we look around the country, that's unheard of around the world. Most of the world now is suffering not just from inflation, but they have businesses that never recovered. So I think we need to really look at our successes and actually what's been hindering us from really rationalizing or conceptualizing it. And I always talk about this is really an issue of economic mobility. We have gone up, increased economically, but inflation has been pulling us back. So as fast as we're making gains, we're being pulled back. But I'm happy now that we actually have a handle over inflation. We're actually wrestling inflation, pulling it back, and succeeding. And that's something I think we should be proud of. Now, how we handle everything else going forward, I had 15 community projects. One of them was to fund housing. So we're giving $3.2 million to Catholic charities. Catholic charities will be able in the calendar year of 2023 to give stipends if you have housing, if you need housing assistance, rental assistance, if you need assistance with your utilities. So we have that stipend that's going to be available. We also are making more available job skills training opportunities so we can help people learn jobs will also build up their businesses. So I've been attacking this inflation issue every step of the way. There is not one corner that we haven't been hitting it. And what we've been doing right now is really trying to draw people to draw people to the opportunity. And it's very important that I mentioned this. We have town halls every other week. We have our mobile clinic that goes out. And the truth is, you're going to connect avec nous pour yo ka recevoir li. So say this is the biggest challenge I have, not just in the Haitian community, but also throughout the entire district. And that's why we do the call so much, so we can help people know where to get the resources.
Thank you so much. Harry Jean-Louis, have a question on the business, as you mentioned, the American Rescue Act. Brother, Mr. Harry Jean-Louis.
Congresswoman McCormick, it's a pleasure for me to speak to you today, because not only we have a voice in Congress, thanks to you. Maybe I've been following your political trip journey from far away, but I'm very proud that we have somebody also who is knowledgeable, who is dedicated to the progress of our community. And to build on what you on the topic that you were just going over, I would like to mention to you that we have 14,500 small businesses in District 20. According to statistics from the Small Business Administration prior to COVID-19, these businesses are over 125,000 people and generate $5.3 billion in payroll expenses. So those businesses represent more than 90% of businesses being conducted in District 20. So what I would like to ask you is, what are do you want what are your plan to help those businesses, and also in particular minority business enterprises such as Black and women-owned businesses?
That's an excellent question. As you know, my background actually is in healthcare, business, and law. And one of the first things that we did when I got into Congress, we introduced and passed a bill for restaurants and small businesses. We were able to allocate $42 billion to small businesses so they could sustain their operations and to be working in the districts. In addition to that, one of the ways that I realized how we grow wealth, especially for our small businesses, on a steady and consistent track, I always have two things I always say. If you're going into business, what you need to have is have a payer who cannot default. And the federal government is a payer that cannot default. And if you're in business for something that is a necessity, those two combinations can give you longevity. So with that being said, we actually hold these times. We were connecting people how to have access to capital, in which we had the Small Business Bureau. We had other agencies there that showed you and walked you through how to apply for loans and how to even participate. We've also had different town halls where we talked about being part of the allocation process and the federal funding process. As I mentioned, we have 15 community projects. We taught people how to apply for it. We even reduced the application process and made it less cumbersome. First put out these applications, we only had 4 groups that applied for government funding programs. After we put it down into a Google Doc, we had over 400, which goes to show you that the real blockade or obstacle for small businesses is that right now, contracting with the federal government is mysterious. It's complicated. So we're working to introduce a bill that actually reduces the burden of you having to hire a lawyer, having to hire someone to write a RFP, a request for proposal. All those barriers keep our businesses out. And once we can start stripping away the barriers, we can introduce more people into it. And that's why we've been actively teaching people how to apply. And if you are applying for any kind of grant process, any kind of work with the federal government, my office has been calling and pushing your opportunity, your group to actually get funding and pushing for your application. And we've been successful. We have a small Haitian church that has a nonprofit. They applied for a grant, and with that grant, they applied to see if they can get the grant to stop gun violence. They are awarded a $2 million contract to stop gun violence in Broward County. And that's what we're here to do. Help every single person, every single entrepreneur, every single business have an opportunity to link. Yesterday, I had Vice President Kamala Harris, who was here. And she announced our climate resistance program, where we're investing billions of dollars into the state of Florida, especially our district and Frederica's district, to ensure that we're participating in climate resiliency. those dollars, that's going to go to the people in our district. But more importantly, all those businesses you talked about, over 15,000 businesses now have an opportunity to take care of and partake in those opportunities, those federal opportunities, billions of dollars. And so my responsibility, my commitment, what I have been committed to is writing recommendation letters, helping people apply and be a part of the process.
And how can we get some information from you directly, if there's a number, or directly from you, or is it to contact your office to get with the Connect program that you have some information that you give it every 2 weeks? Are those information part of eliminate those obstacles that small business and nonprofit organization encounter with contracting with the federal government?
Yes. So if you're in my district, you should have been receiving phone calls, because we call all 800,000 people in my district and invite them to the town hall. If you are not part of my district, you can reach out to my office or even go online to my office, and we will actually add you onto the call list so you can do the town halls. And the office, you can reach my Tamarack office at 954-733-2800. We can send you the link, or you can go online and sign on and subscribe. Our program has been so successful. On one of our town halls, we have more than 10,000 people, and they all have the same interest.
Number again?
954-733-2800.
2800 733-2800. Well, definitely we'll do that. We'll approach that, and our community really do need those type of information, as you mentioned, through churches and through other civic organizations throughout the community. Right now, I would like to introduce another gentleman, which is Roger Pierre. Mr. Roger will ask you certain questions close to your heart.
Congresswoman McCormick, it's a pleasure to have you on our platform. Since May 2021, we have the Haiti House Caucus in U.S. Congress, formed by 4 United States congressional representatives, which you have joined. These 4 representatives said, and I quote, "We come to Congress with vastly different backgrounds and from all corners of our country. Yet, we have found common ground in our deep commitment to the Haitian people and their well-being, as well as an intense desire to see Haitian democracy thrive," in a joint statement. Now, do you think by specifically having the Haiti House Caucus that gives Haitian greater leverage or voice to bring forward the problem that we are facing here and in Haiti?
No, I don't know how I could be more honest. The House Caucus is a necessary, but the leverage, the advocacy that we definitely need, it has to be at the hands of having more Haitian Americans elected. That's the truth. I'm the only Haitian who's there. We fight all the time, push the initiative. We have partners in that fight who are standing with us. Val Deming is an excellent fighter, as she stands with us. But really understanding how we go further, how we continue to leverage. We need more people in alliance. And not only do we need more people in the alliance, we need to understand that all of the work cannot come just from Congress. The Haitian diaspora has to step up and start assisting Haiti to get in line and to get together. There's a lot of things that members of Congress cannot do. And there's a lot of things that the Haitian diaspora can do. And so we want to work together and partner. During the Summit of the Americas, we actually sat across, it was a delegation of 25 members of Congress, including the leaders and the chairman for the Foreign Affairs Department. And we sat across from Dr. Ariel Henry, and we asked about the funding we were giving and the police we were giving, and why is Haiti still unstable? What can we do? And we didn't get a satisfactory answer. We see gangs are actually elevating. There's a lot of guns that are going into Haiti that we know are coming from the US. And we know that there are people who are private entities that are actually sponsoring the gangs. That kind of work takes not just Congress, but the entire diaspora and people in Haiti. And so I think that us looking at just the Haiti caucus is not strong enough. We have to take it serious to start building more people, Haitian people, in Congress. And that's when real transformation begins. I can tell you, as the only Haitian woman in Congress when something happens, when we sat across from the Haitian president and Haiti is unstable and it's not in a position where it could even participate in a lot of the initiatives, je me sentis gênée. Parce que je me sentis gênée, je travaille plus dur. Parce que je besoin Haïti monter, je besoin Haïtien monter. And when you have that kind of conviction because of your identity, that's a different type of fight. And that's why we need to have more people elected. And honestly, we need to have Haitian people like myself who are in these positions supported. Because if you look at who is donating to people in the caucus, who is supporting them, they're not the same people who are coming in and supporting even me. And that's because we rather get people to buy in than to raise up our own. And we have to start getting comfortable with raising up our own, because no one will fight for you more than yourself.
That's
no
correct.
one will fight for you more than your children. This is not just politics for us. This is identity. Us actually surviving and lifting up Haiti to a place of greatness, that makes not just me happy, but my legacy now identifies and looks back and sees Haiti's greatness, not just in the past, but in the present.
Well, couldn't say
Thank you for being honest.
You said it well, Congresswoman, that you cannot do it by yourself. Basically, definitely need some more Haitian American inside Congress and inside the Senate. With all these things going on in, with both people coming in right now, and I know Title 42 is freezed up, but they're still setting back our people, the Haitian people, back to our unstable country. What is your position on that to the Biden administration?
Well, we actually had a conversation with the Biden administration, and we held a press conference where we had all the Haitian American leaders, elected officials who were there. A few weeks later, we saw that the Biden administration was rolling back and agreed to roll back Title 42. Unfortunately, the Republicans had more than 200 people stand up and give an actual speech on the floor saying that Biden needs to keep Title 42 because the immigrants who are coming with disease, they're coming with drugs, and they're coming to rape and pillage people in this country. When I tell you I was so upset that they made these comments, that I said, you know what, this is a bigger fight than us because we have a party that's running against us. And if you notice, Biden was rolling it back due to the conversation. We did have forward movement with the administration. However, there was a legal challenge in court that stopped all the progress in the forward movement. It was the courts that actually reinstated Title 42, and the Biden administration is still looking at ways to pull it back. So the relationship and the conversations we're having about immigration, about what we're doing in the Caribbean, has been constant. We just had a huge moment that I don't think enough people notice. For the first time, the United States said their intervention in Haiti has been wrong, that they have not been successful, and that they're welcoming new strategies, new ways. What could they do to help Haiti? The first time. After hundreds of years of the U.S. working in Haiti, they said they've been wrong. And they're welcoming not just the Haitian members of Congress, but the Haitian diaspora to comment. This is a win for us. And we have to start seeing each win and taking each opportunity. Now, as we talk about Haiti as a whole, let's look at us as a whole. And I keep saying that because as the only one in Congress, I talk about, like, when I start advocating for Haitian people, not everyone's is happy about that. I'll just be honest with you. The truth is because they're not used to having someone who actually articulates and prioritizes Haiti. That's a new area for them. You find people articulating, arguing for Jewish people, for Panyol, for everyone. But and it's a new space, but we can't go forward and be ashamed of it. I get criticized all the time saying that I only work for Haitian people. That's absolutely not true. What it is that we have an emergency situation in Haiti. We have decades and years of meddling in Haiti and not being successful. And this is our opportunity to right all the wrongs that have been done to Haiti. And that's why we fight so hard to make sure that not only is Title 42 taken away, but Haiti's actually in a better place so we won't have immigrants coming to the border. And that's the truth. And I tell them that all the time. If you want less immigration, help Haiti get better. That's the answer. And so we have to focus on being good allies to Haiti because Haiti has been a better ally to the United States than we have been to it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have to hold it to.
Congresswoman McCormick, I'm so proud the way you address the issue about Haiti. because deeply in my heart, I see you have the right approach. Uh, Most of us feel that the participation of Haitians in solving the problems of Haiti is lacking. And that's why we work so hard in South Florida as well to elect and work with people with citizens like you, so that we can have more of you in Congress, more of you in Senate, more of you in government. Now, do you have any young Haitians that you're coaching? Do you have a mentoring program? Do you have a way of, providing support for the next generation of Haitians who wants to follow your footsteps?
Yes, we do. So we take mentors, and we actually take interns and fellows in my office all year round. And I encourage everyone to call to sign your children up, because when you are an intern or a fellow, you actually get to work on Congress. In DC, you get to work in these offices. You get to walk the halls with me. In DC, we have subways that members ride to get to the Capitol. You get to do that. So you get to experience what it is. And I always tell people, I'm no different than they are. And I remember after going to law school, after even running a business successfully and making more than $20 million a year consistently, after all that success, I felt like I still wasn't good enough to be there. And then it wasn't until I answered the call that God put on my life, and I said, I'm going to do it, even though I don't know, but I believe that God was going to take me forward, that I'm here. And so when I walked the halls, and I walked the halls with young Haitian interns, when I walked the hall with young American interns, I always look and I said, my God, what would have happened if I didn't believe him? What would have happened if I didn't believe that I was good enough, or I was going to trust God? And so I always tell them that, look at me, I'm no better than you. There's nothing that separates me from them. But I don't want them to get to 35 or 37 and then say, maybe I can get there. I want them to see right now and right here that they're good enough to be there. So you don't have to be going to Congress when you're 43, but we can have someone going to Congress at 30, at 20. So it's important that I expose all the kids, and that if you have someone, have them contact our office so they can start understanding that it's not just that they should be in those places. It's necessary that they're in places. If we're going to change the trajectory of Haitian Americans around the United States and the entire world, we must have strong advocates with Haitian American backgrounds, not afraid to be themselves, to make the change happen.
I would like to confirm with you, Congresswoman McCormick. What is the phone number that you can be reached for the volunteer program? Is it the same number you gave us earlier?
Yes.
954-733-2800.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I think your persistence.
Congresswoman McCormick, what I would like to ask you, don't you think that it will be good to have like some kind of public relation campaign, some kind of mass media a campaign to let people know of all the good opportunities that you have available for them? For example, you're talking about the forums, you're talking about the internship program. I think that would be a good idea to really spread that good news out.
Definitely. We've been advertising. We spent a lot of money in advertising the information into our district, but we can also push it out beyond the walls of our district. But we really have been pushing it out. So I thank you guys for giving me this platform to even articulate it, because this gives me another avenue to actually push out the opportunities we have in the office.
Well, Congresswoman Sheila, you had spoken earlier about the workforce housing. Can you a little bit elaborate what does that mean, the workforce housing, as far as people getting housing maybe at a cheaper price or cheaper rate? How does that?
Yeah, so workforce housing, the difference between workforce housing and affordable housing is usually affordable housing has to do with people who are on the poverty level or on the cusp of it. Workforce housing now is for people who make more money. And because the housing market has gone so far up and been so expensive, that we find regular people who are working can't afford to buy homes. We're even seeing a shortage for homes for people who are doctors and lawyers. So what we're doing now is we're putting money towards building homes for people who aren't just in poverty, but people who are actually in the workforce category. And so when we build them, that funding process and that process of actually registering will be through the state and also the counties. As you've seen that there's already been dollars allocated to the counties where they had housing stipends and they had housing projects. Those are federal programs. We actually put that money in, but the money's coming through the county and it's coming through the cities. So if you look at your local county, each one of them have a program. A lot of them filled up very quickly, and we're looking to fund more money to go into them. But as those buildings are being built and the housings are being developed, you can be able to reach it at your county. But you can reach my office also, and we could direct you to the county liaison so you can be part of that project.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that your interns, different than your interns. And I wanted to tell you, this is not a question. I wanted to signal to you. Your persistency, if you could kind of being contagious with your persistency with your intern, it will probably make it to where you are, because that is a mark. I mean, you are persistent. And I remember what you said when you just get sworn in. You said, it's official, let's go to work. This is only the beginning. Even though you never held elective office, you are so excited to go in there and work for us. And I do appreciate that. So this is just a comment, not a question.
Oh, thank you.
I say her persistence got her the job, so she really worked hard for it. So that is definite. One of the main challenge for the administration, for the Biden administration, we know it's gas and we know it's housing, and the interest rate that is going up right now. What is your take on that, Congresswoman?
That is a very good question. We had to do something about inflation, especially when it came to homes. That's why we had to raise the interest rates. We found that a lot of the homes were being bought by real estate investment groups, not regular people, but real estate investment groups. And we had to find some way. So raising the interest rate, it did two things. It actually allows people who want to save gain more interest on their savings, but it also helped us slow down and bring down the prices of housing. One of the other things that we've been looking at, the housing market for a long time was rising because there wasn't enough supply chain issues that we mentioned earlier. But we've been working with our neighbors such as Canada for lumber and all the supplies to bring down the prices of even new homes. So that's why we had to raise the interest rate. Now, will there be another raise? There's conversations about having another raise, but it really just depends on where we are when it comes to inflation. The priority of Congress, the priority of the administration, my priority is to ensure that inflation comes down by November. And so if that means that the interest rate has to go up one more time, it will go up so we can bring down the price of housing so people can afford to get someplace to live.
Well,
I also think, to another comment, I also think that the Democratic Party needs to do a better job as far as marketing their accomplishment, because I've seen that based on what you are saying, you have accomplished a lot, but I don't think the public knows, because they're looking at gas prices, but the administration haven't said anything about gas prices. They have to make noise, because that's the only way people believe in what you're doing. If you don't talk about it, nobody else is going to talk about what your accomplishment is. So I think we need to have that in that community.
Yes.
Congresswoman Sheila McCormick, I want to thank you personally for taking the time out. Sometimes I didn't know, we kind of meet different places in different areas, but I didn't know if you were going to take us on, but I appreciate that you have. And we want to have also the opportunity to work with you. And we want, as you mentioned, it's not only you that can change the atmosphere for the Haitian people here in America and around the world. It is belong to us. That's mean we have to be engaged, as we are engaged to see you being reelected in August. I'm going to give you the last word to say. What would you like to say to your community, and not only the Haitian community, but to your district, your constituent, District 20?
I would like to tell my district, thank you so much for electing me. And as we go into this next election, it really takes all of us to come out to the polls and to vote for honesty and integrity. When I ran for Congress, I was persistent. I had promises. I delivered on them. We introduced our bills, and we said our priority was for economic growth. Our priority is to make sure that we have economic justice. We were able to pass on the eve of Juneteenth the economic justice bill that makes it a crime for you to discriminate for any kind of financial services. We have fought tooth and nail to make sure that we are bringing our district to opportunities by having town halls, by connecting them with capital, with even having briefings with small business administration. And everything that I have done to serve this district has been because this is my contribution to the community that loved me first. From the total district of District 20 to the community that we grew up in, we all have functioned and believed in me at one point, and I believe in our district. And that's why I'm running for re-election. I ask everyone to come out and vote. People have received their absentee ballots already. And if you have them, please fill out Congresswoman McCormick. Please re-elect me. If you are going to do early voting, that is going to be August 10th. We need everybody to come out and vote for early voting. And then if you're going to wait to August 23rd, which I don't recommend, I highly recommend you vote early. That would be the last day is August 23rd. So this is our moment to continue the forward progress for everyone. This is our moment to make our mark and to actually rise to the level that we've always dreamed of and we envisioned. Let's go on with this ride and continue. The work is not done. Let's go out and vote. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jay?
Congresswoman McCormick, I'm very pleased that you're here. But I have a specific and a special question for you. What is your favorite Haitian dish?
Huh? I didn't hear what you said.
What is your favorite Haitian dish?
Lambi avec noix.
Wow.
Lambi avec noix.
We have the same taste.
Yes, that's in Monocap. Lambi avec noix. That's my thing.
Moi, ça t'a pas dit griot. Griot à mon Brésil.
Griot avec bonhomme remè yo tout. Ou kon remè manger. Lambi avec noix. That's it.
Congresswoman. This is a lot to digest, and I would like the kids to be able to pick your mind. So, will you be open to writing a kids' book for civic engagement as a role model for our community?
Yes, we actually have coloring books that we take to the school so we can teach them how bills become law. So we wouldn't mind expanding that to a larger platform so we can just normalize the political process and also the election process so we can have everybody engaged. We would love to do that.
Yeah, that's good. As you mentioned with internship, that brings the kids right along the line, the pipeline. That's right.
Congresswoman,
The kids. Roger.
Congresswoman McCormick, je ne sais pas qui j'ai pour me dire merci encore. Non seul bail que je connais, c'est pour la communauté en sortir voter. Parce que c'est vous-même qui font travail pour les Haïtiens. Là, ils ont besoin de voir ça. Besoin de voir dans le Congrès. C'est comme ça seulement que je remercie vous pour le sacrifice que vous faites pour nous, pour les Haïtiens. Alors moi-même, je suis obligé de parler créole pour vous entendre, pour vous comprendre vraiment qui ça va faire. Parce que le travail va faire son travail qui est très, extrêmement important et ou pas peur. Ou persistant et ou arriver quand même. Merci encore une fois. Je vous remercie pour comprendre ça, pour passer sur la plateforme.
Oui, c'est ça. Et nous te voyons Congresswoman a dit nous directement. Oui. Si nous-mêmes, nous pas mettre main la charia, si nous pas mettre main la patte là, il n'y a pas faire travail là pour continuer. Non. Ça veut dire faut pour nous réellement vrai aller. Sa devise nous dit l'union fait la force. Ingénieur J.
C'était un plaisir pour nous de passer moment ça ensemble avec Congresswoman McCormick. Et nous souhaitons que nous approuvons encore. Nous souhaitons que vous puissiez passer devant tout le monde 23 août là. Nous connaissons que en novembre, on piqué pour plus devant encore en novembre. et on a pu renouveler pour deuxième mandat en plein fois ça. Et pas un mandat mosso, pas un mandat manqué mosso. Dans mon mandat en plein fois ça pour capable continuer à représenter nous, communauté haïtienne et district dans United States Congress.
C'est ça, et comme nous dit, nous terminer et nous connaissons et nous célébrer avec tout pasteur Apton, Congresswoman Sheila Phyllis McCormick pour venir célébrer avec eux encore victoire août 23 2022. Encore une fois, Congresswoman, we thank you, we love you, and we want to see you being reelected. Merci beaucoup, Pierre.
If on notre côté haïtien qui a dit ça ma Congresswoman grenadier à la soupe.
Congresswoman non kon sa yo do grenadier à l'assaut.
No.
C'est tant que capot à la mort, on va les tirer sur les boulettes, on va cheval boulette pour cheval, les cheval la tomber. Mais quand même capot à la mort lever les dit grenadier à l'assaut en avant.
En avant. Parce que Congresswoman n'a pris un pile boulette et lui-même j'ai capot à la mort et son capoise lié, lui a avancé malgré toute difficulté, toute barrière au mettre devant. Et nous-mêmes nous camper derrière lui pour qu'arriver représenter nous, je la représenter nous avec un pile knowledge, un pile efficacité dans US Congress. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thank you. You have a good one.
I would like to say, everybody, stay tuned. We're going to have a roundtable where we're going to discuss the different issues that the U.S. Congresswoman Sheila Phyllis McCormick has done so far. Stay tuned. We're going to be back after the break. Bienvenue sur Tamaroute 360. C'est un show qui couvre tout sujet qui en a fait avec société, ensemble avec culture, ensemble avec politique et ensemble avec économie qui affecte la communauté. Et je dis, c'est un plaisir pour nous accueillir US Congresswoman Sheila Phyllis McCormick. C'est un dialogue qui était très intéressant. Un dialogue qui gagne en pile information là-dedans. Ensemble avec collègues nous, Marie Olivier, Roger Pierre et Harry Jean-Louis, nous pourrons aller faire une table ronde, côté que nous pourrons parler de toute information qui circule là, comment nous sommes capables d'adresser différents issues, comment nous sommes capables de prendre avantage de position Sheila Phyllis McCormick dans le Congrès des États-Unis. Messieurs, on nous parler de avantages qui est capable de gagner dans la présence Congresswoman Sheila Phyllis McCormick dans United States Congress. Je dis, je suis ensemble avec nous, lui va nous en pile détail. Et moi, ça qui fait plaisir en pile, c'est là que tu as parlé de ça nous les volunteering, côté que il dit que tout haïtien, c'est même genre avec que pas gagner de différent entre lui-même avec haïtiens, amis, famille, petites, frères, sœurs qui sont dans la communauté. Et c'est très important pour nous connaître tout, que lui ouvert porte lui pour le capable d'accueillir tout haïtien à différents âges pour capable faire internship dans l'office et comme ça nous capable grandir communauté noire côté nous capable de plus représentants dans le congrès. Par contre messieurs, si nous-mêmes nous te tirer même message là dans les affaires volunteering ça, dans les affaires mentorship ça.
Bon, merci, ingénieur. Alors, mentorship, là, c'est un facteur que Congresswoman a réellement vrai et fait à la solide, mais on est libre tellement d'informations qui utiles à toute la communauté, hein, que c'est dans les affaires workforce housing, et monter petit pépinière, réellement vrai avec internship, là, c'est au surplus. Parce que, les nous, où j'ai demandé à faire bagay Haïti caucus là, leverage là, pour, tout dit catégoriquement question, non, nous pas de leverage, même nous à zéro. Et, li emphasize, li pese sou li, c'est li mandé pour ouais, internship là, petit pépinière, petit à petit nous yo, faut pour yo rentrer dans le système nan. Et il faut connaître tout catégoriquement, li même pour continuer dans le congrès, pas qu'à faire rien. Ça veut dire qu'il faut pour gagner plusieurs Haïtiens américains en dans le congrès ou bien avec moun qui ka pensé même gens avant pour avancer agenda par ou elle cité non Val-des-Mines. Ça fait c'est très important pour nous connaître en novembre pour nous connaître qui est pour nous voter pour sénateur. Pas bon ici. Parce que malheureusement nous ka dire honnêtement Poyol n'a pas fait rien pour nous.
Il souligne bien clair, c'est que il dit c'est mettre comme veille quoi. C'est quand que on voulait et que on prend communauté là au sérieux. On va pas quitter issue communauté là, c'est l'autre monde, c'est Jean fait ce deal d'aller, c'est Spanish, c'est Jamaïcain, c'est l'autre nationalité qui défend cause ou bien black américain qui défend cause ou des sometimes c'est même américain blanc. Donc, il faut nous-mêmes nous prendre conscience que, hey, si nous voulons que la communauté nous avance, il faut que nous engagions dans le processus. Pour nous engager dans le processus, et pas seulement la poser candidature. Et parce que tout le monde toujours, ouais, bon, c'est moi-même qui suppose tête, c'est moi-même qui suppose chef, c'est moi-même qui suppose élu. Non. Des fois, il y a plusieurs monde qui posent candidature pour le même poste là, pour nous permettre aux Haïtiens passer, pour ne pas diviser votre Haïtien, faut nous cacher ensemble, on dit, OK, let me take myself out, parce que c'est facile pour dire là, pour take myself out, oui, mais tell me take myself out, tu me retirer comme, ok, chita avant, d'accord, m'a retirer de façon ou qu'à passer, on a parlé avec au troisième ou quatrième, vous demandez, on nous fait espace pour haïtien, ça qu'à passer. Mais ensuite, tout, faut nous capables et fait partie de campagne. Que c'est au niveau de fundraising, pas être non fundraising, la fini, ou si on chèque pour candidat, on chèque $10. OK? Et si il y a un fundraising, il faut show up. OK? Pas qu'il y ait un fundraising qui a fait dans la communauté pour pas show up. Et même si ce candidat est étranger, c'est pas un haïtien qui est en face, il y a un avantage qui arrive. Il faut que nous capables et venir nous montrer candidat étranger que la communauté haïtienne est présent, nous présent financièrement, de façon que les étrangers arrivent dans le pouvoir, tout, il y a la communauté haïtienne importance.
Vas-y, Roger. Non, normalement, Roger, son conversation qui est vaste, qui se passe là, dans pile bagay qui couvre là-dedans, et qui ça ou même vous trouvez qui attire attention dans l'interview ça?
Mon cher, ça qui attire attention dans l'interview, ça qui attire attention un peu plus, c'est parce que nous voyons que nous avons des difficultés tout au début. Je m'a parlé de nous avons des difficultés tout au début, c'est que l'administration ça a des difficultés tout au début avec Bill Back Better. Et nous voyons que qu'on a et table à changer et côté que il y a des sujets, des problèmes que nous avons gagnés au fait dans la question inflation, le n'a regardé prix gaz, prix tout produit a monté comme ça. Donc avec que l'administration commence à jouer un résultat dans décision qui prend au sein de l'administration, mais que le public n'est pas au courant. Et c'est ça que fait me demander des congresswomen maintenant. Je crois que marketing et démocratique party a pas fait, l'administration pas fait assez. Faut que nous fassions pile bouillie avec ça, puisque c'est avancement, c'est accomplissement. L'heure que gagne l'administration qui travaille, qui fait des bagages qui avancent, qui bon pour le peuple en général, faut que nous fassions ça, les marketing, faut nous faire bruit pour ça, pour nous connaître. Non seulement ça, mais on sait des bagages qui rentrent là-dedans tout. Alors, il se pose un problème de transcendance que nous n'avons pas gagné. Nous n'avons pas gagné assez représentatifs. Nous n'avons pas gagné assez de gens représenter nous. Eh bien, il faut que nous ayons transcendance pour qu'on connaisse que il y a un monde qui est capable de faire un travail mieux passé. Mais nous ne pouvons pas ça. Et nous parlons de collectivité tout le temps. Pas de faire de collectivité. Haïtiens manquent collectivité, manquent peut-être ensemble pour avancer. Et nous voyons que c'est ça qui a créé le problème là. Parce que si il y a 5 Haïtiens qui a pas aller pour un poste, qui postulent pour un poste, c'est pour diviser votre job. Qui donc, faut que nous comprenions dans un sens pour nous mettre tête nous ensemble, pour nous pousser un seul monde, mais faut que nous capables de chiter ensemble. Et si ça m'a pas eu de transcendance, faut qu'il y ait transcendance, faut que nous capable de transcender ça pour le faire. So, ça, très important. Nous t'a souhaité que dans le commentaire que nous avons fait là, que nous sommes capables de suivre, capable d'apprendre de ça.
Professeur Louis, gagne différents aspects de la conversation que nous avons fait ensemble avec Congresswoman Sheila McCormick. Il y a un bagage que je vais adresser pour nous, c'est small business. C'est business et minority, female enterprises. Réponse que le débat sur ça te fait plaisir en termes de support que minorité business a gagné. Qui avantage qui gagne lorsque gagne un montant couché la chère Phyllis McCormick qui a représenté small business haïtien au niveau fédéral.
C'est un débat qui frappait dans l'intervention et Congresswoman McCormick et c'est ça qui fait tout que moi-même j'ai fait intervention en ce sens. Et il y a un série de belles programmes qui est établi, nous avons une série de belles efforts qu'a fait, mais même Jean et Roger fait ce deal là et comment dirais-je marketing là, OK, et outreach là, il faut que l'y fait. Il faut que gagner un programme de qui a relié monde qui n'a besoin avec source et solutions qui existaient au niveau du gouvernement pour type de issue que nous avons fait. Il conseille que de belles programmes, on parle de workforce programme, OK? Le workforce programme sont bons programmes parce que les du comme ça par exemple, si quand que housing workforce là et que si quand que on nous pas afford et avec j'ai pris caillou monter surtout dans South Florida. Si on ne peut pas afford li, on pas besoin montrer qu'on peut faire 5 cob pour que sous cassure et pour pas affordable housing, même si tu as un docteur, tu as un attorney, tu as un architecte, tu as un ingénieur, OK, workforce et housing workforce programme qui doit permettre d'acquérir un caille parce que malgré fait tout comme ça, et prix là il doit still pas apporter de income. L'on parle de small business, toute qualité forum, conférence, etc. qu'a fait, toute qualité programme SBA qui existe, tout bagay ça yo, les office là ou bien et à sur website etc. Mais supposé qu'il y a une campagne qui peut faire et à travers et médias yo, OK? Et de façon que monde qui besoin type de programme ça yo ka connaît qui porte pour frapper qui côté pour aller et même pour connaître que programme ça existait all together.
Même ka additionner pour nous que job là chita nan men nous. Job là chita nan men nous, c'est responsabilité par nous en tant que monde qui gagne contact direct ensemble avec US Congresswoman Sheila McCormick qui gagne information ça nan men nous. C'est responsabilité par nous pour nous mettre dehors, pour nous continuer à divulguer. Oui, il y a une responsabilité globale qui gagne au niveau du fédéral gouvernement, au niveau de l'office Congresswoman. Mais nous-mêmes qui avons contact ça tout, il faut que nous mettions information dehors. Et je encourage tout le monde qui t'a aimé gagner plus d'informations sur toute conversation que nous faisons là. Nous avons l'office Sheila McCormick là, dans 954 733 2800. 954 733 2800. Répétez-vous nous encore. 954 733 2800. Si vous avez un petit monde que nous avons intéressé à faire mentorship pour capable voir qui genre congrès a fonctionné et capable à visiter le Halls of Congress in Washington, petit moun yo contactez numéro ça dans 954 733 2800. Monsieur, c'est un plaisir vous noter là ensemble aujourd'hui. Et moi apprécier présence nous et Tamaro 360, c'est peut-être ça nous là. C'est pour nous là, pour nous capable parler de issues qui est important pour la communauté, pour nous capable parler de ça qui est important pour le pays nous et pour nous capable poser action. Louis, Harry, merci pour ce côté-là. Roger Pierre, merci pour votre présence. Et Marie Olivier, nous souhaitons une nouvelle fois, nous rencontrer encore pour nous capable faire une interview du même genre.